so many contributions, Mayapur contributions, Punjab contributions, Europe, Australia, Europe, Spain, all wonderful practical activities. But at the same time, wherever he went, amazing kirtan, amazing classes, amazing guidance for the devotees. So there wasn't dry management or iron-fisted management or just even super competent management. Yeah, that's going to be better. Okay. But it was happy business to be absorbed in Krishna conscious activities in that way. And giving time also for devotees individually with genuine concern and capability also. It wasn't just patting people on the back or encouraging them in a generic sort of way, but he was expert in knowing what people needed. In Africa, he would then take promising young devotees and send them to Bangladesh, because he would see that in Africa they would be sort of stuck by the surrounding circumstances, and they wouldn't get the chance to grow as they should. So he would bring them to Bangladesh or bring them to India, so that they, outside of that environment, they could come up, then they could come back and accomplish something or be well situated. And that was practical. That was practical. And so many other things that were practical and involving keen discernment. And transcendental keen discernment. It's not just smart management for Krishna, but direction from Krishna. What to do, how to move forward, how to encourage, how to hold on to the reins that is needed. Tadami Buddhi Yogartam in the Upayantite. So he was such a gifted person, and I don't know what he found to do. Somehow or another, by Krishna's arrangement, we were able to do things, come together and also do some things together. And I can appreciate his expanding things. That much I did. I sort of, you've heard that from me before. Basically, what's the word? Anyway, arrange some space that so that he could fulfill his destiny. So that he could be who he was supposed to be, so that you're all the beneficiaries. So I don't really give a lot of credit because he did the work, but at least I maybe got out of the way, or maybe got a few other people out of the way. But the example is there for you that your spiritual master has done such wonderful service for Krishna, serve Krishna with such dedication and single-mindedness. So that example is there for you. That example is there for you. It's there for everyone, not for me, for the world, but especially for his disciples. That gives you direction in life, your example of how to be Krishna conscious. I was thinking the other day, because people wherever I go, they want Prabhupada stories. They want to know what it was like to be with Prabhupada. And you can't really tell. At least I can't. To communicate what it was like to be with Prabhupada. How do you do that? So, we talked about that, how young boys were asking their grandfather what jackfruit was like. That's all that. Some boys like your age, they'd never tasted jackfruit, so they were asking what jackfruit was like. Jackfruit could be a subject, and jackfruit could be fruit also. So, what's the jackfruit fruit like? Well, I can't tell you. You'll have to taste it yourself. No, what's it like? What's it like? No, you have to taste it. But what's it like? So finally he said, well, it's like sugar cane juice strained through a Muslim's beard. Thank you. So, to experience what it was like to be in Prabhupada's presence was possible when God in his presence. We can experience it a different way. We read his books, we hear his classes, we watch the videos, we hear the stories, and it's wonderful. But there's something that it's like to be with Srila Prabhupada that you had to be there to experience. So that was a one-time opportunity, as it were. I mean, one time for those years. But you've had that same opportunity with your Guru. That same experience of association with a person empowered by Krishna, or manifesting the presence of Krishna, and directly delivering that to you in personal fashion. And that you have with your Guru. And very, very wonderfully. And others also. It's just for our club. But other devotees who've seen their Guru Maharaj serving, who've helped their Guru Maharaj serve, taken part in that piece of Lord Chaitanya's Leela, extended Leela. Then they experience their own they have their own experience of Krishna's mercy coming to them in that very personal way. So that's your special good fortune. And it's also, you have that experience of separation from your Guru Maharaj, also physical separation. and the experience of being able to continue to serve his mission. You know, that word mission was, for those who weren't there, to get that word out was very difficult. I think said it, and then it was hard to hear what he was saying because his ability to speak was compromised. So it was like we're guessing. Was it this, that, this, that? And finally, I think we got it with great difficulty. I must have been thinking I didn't get it. Someone else must have. But with very concentrated effort, he struggled to get those two syllables delivered. Hey. So we have a great mission, the mission of our own human life, which, it's short. We always say that it's short. We know, we've read that it's short. We understand philosophically that it's short. But it's short. I see that when people are coming to me for advice, now I'm what? 76? Getting close to the end of things. And there's so many devotees, most devotees are younger, many quite a bit younger. But you look at it and you see, okay, you sort of see, okay, this many years, and you see things in terms of, okay, 5 years of this, 10 years of this, 25 years of that, not the momentary, what's happening this week and that sort of thing. You look at it and say, okay, it's going to do this for this many years, and then you may want to do that. So a couple slabs like that, they're gone. A couple slabs like that, and that's it. 10 years of this, 20 years of that, another 20 years of this, and leave the stage. So before we go, we want to focus our energy, our attention, our hearts, our everything, our minds. Chanting, I was thinking about, especially this morning, so important to chant Hare Krishna offenselessly. And so easy to chant and allow the mind to wander. And even to think that the wandering is sort of creative or suitable. I'm thinking of Krishna in different ways, thinking about buying this or fixing that or doing this or doing that. So my mind is on Krishna, but meanwhile, the mantras are going by and my mind is elsewhere. And that's okay. I was thinking of Krishna in some indirect way. And from indirect, it went to more indirect. So pretty soon I don't know where I am or how I got there. But that kind of chanting doesn't bring us to the stage of love for Krishna. It doesn't have the same dramatic effect of washing the unwanted things from the heart. It will be good, it will do something. And when we're chanting, at least we're not doing something else terrible. And even the attempt will help us. But if we focus, when we focus on chanting and try to hear with concentrated attention, that chanting brings us to another level. And that chanting takes care of the other things that we thought we had to think about. The things that we spent 2 hours thinking about. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? How should I do this? Should I do that? If we chant just once purely, Krishna can wrap up the whole 2 hours business in 10 seconds. Really. That's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that for those who forget Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even easy things become difficult. And for those who remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even difficult things become easy. So it's in one sense, the most important thing that we do is just try to chant Hare Krishna offensively, inoffensively, attentively. Yeah. And happily also. It's not that chanting has to be sit down and wrestle with the lion again. But Susukam Kartamavya. And Krishna says it's happy business. And happy business. Just to chant Hare Krishna. So, and that, of course, Maharaj taught is we've talked about his determination in chanting japa, and also his ecstasy in leading kirtan. Life dedicated to the holy name of Krishna. How wonderful. And how wonderful an example to follow.
Questions? So if you have a question, please raise your hand and the microphone will come to you. Please make sure the microphone is held horizontally by your mouth, not behind your head or on the left. So just like this. Okay. Please volunteer, otherwise we will pick and you will then, if you're falling asleep, nudge the person next to you to wake up. Okay.
You talked about how Zoran Sarvabhauma Swami was given substantial contributions in Vrindavan, Mayapur, in the Holy Name. Is this contribution, is that sought out, like we think about and we plan, and we then make that offering, or is that something that should be instructed upon us, and then we take it to...
Well, first thing, at least, is we should do what we're instructed to do. That's the first thing. Not that I have my plans, I have my dreams. And the instructions that I got from my Guru Maharaj, they can wait till my dreams are fulfilled. Just to, we should always be dedicated to fulfilling what our spiritual master has asked us to do as the highest priority. And we may have some plans, some aspirations. That also should be carefully interrogated. And is this just my dream, my uncontrolled mind, or is this Krishna's desire? Therefore, we see that the great devotees, they seek confirmation. They seek confirmation from Krishna. They seek confirmation from the spiritual master. They seek confirmation from Shastra. They seek confirmation from the Vaishnavas. Kaviraj Goswami gets the indication from Nityananda Prabhu in a dream. He gets the garland of the deity. He gets the fervent requests of the Vaishnavas, and he writes Chaitanya Charitamrita. He doesn't just think, wow, I'd like to write a book.
Thank you.
As a disciple, we will often see our spiritual master as perfect.
Why often?
Only as perfect.
Mm.
There may be an occasion, and he's talking of a couple, but if there's an instruction to be learned, is there an occasion where he did something where you had to guide him or instruct him to do something better, and in particular learn how did he take that chastisement? As disciples, what could we learn from the way?
I don't think I chastised him. I don't remember an occasion where I got on his case. But, well, there was something I asked him to do that was quite heavy. He was producing very nice kirtans and so on. And on some tracks he would play guitar. Because that was his instrument, from even before. He was quite expert, actually, good at it. But I thought that this is not so good. In our tradition, guitar is not really the instrument. And, he'll play guitar, and then what will the next generation do? I've heard the expression that if the spiritual master passes water standing, then the disciples will pass water running. So I said something to him about it. I think I dropped him a note about it. I don't think it's so good. That was it. Just stopped. Never got back to me and said, well, Maharaj, but, and I was thinking, or I was just stopped. Which, when you're good at something and it's kind of working and you like doing it, it's not such an easy thing. But he just stopped. So there's...
Yeah. We would always ask him to play guitar. We would always ask
Yeah, I know. I've cost you a lot of really excellent tracks.
But no, he always said, no, I don't want to. It's not my desire to play. And then I pressed him. I was like, what happened? Because I didn't know this backstory. I was like, yeah, I don't think Jay Maharaj likes it, so it's not a big deal. I'm just not going to play. And then still, so many people were pushing it. And then once in the recording studio, he says, like, please, Maharaj, just touch it. Just, because we just asked him to touch the guitar. And even when he touched it, he touched the strings, but he just put it down immediately. So it was so chaste to that instruction. We asked him a lot. Sorry for asking.
Someone else?
same time, we could see how Guru Maharaj has strength to follow Jagrata Maharaj. And no matter what would be, he would just really listen, like what you just say, and he will just follow. And I remember once I asked you about him, and he said, yeah, he was perfect example as disciple.
Yeah.
So for me, it's extremely big inspiration to become that. But he used to say that we just milk him,
Used to say what?
that we milk him.
Milk
We are
him.
milking
I
him.
milked him.
No, that we would
No,
milk him.
You would milk him.
We as disciples, that we are milking him, that we just want things from him, but we don't do anything for him. And then he said, we should be proper disciples, that our Guru Maharaj don't even ask, and we just fulfill his desire. And he was really trying to do that. I don't know how was your feeling about it, but
Oh, he was like that. I guess the example you've heard before is about New York, where I just said something to him about, sort of, okay, we've kept it from being sold, but it's a struggle to, and I didn't have to really say more than that. He just took up the whole project, sent men, came himself, started working on plans and doing things, and just sort of I wasn't going to push him. He had what he was doing all over the world, so I wasn't. Maharaj, why don't you just give some time to New York? No, not even that much. He just understood that my concern was there. Just picked it up, and took it. And so much he was able to accomplish, and if he stayed longer, so much more would be accomplished.
I once asked him, Maharaj, how comes now you're doing so much in New York? And he said, Jay Ved Swami told me to. And I said, did he instruct you? He said, no, he didn't say like that, but I could see it was important to him.
Yeah.
And he said, it was interesting timing because I was now like in the thick of my sannyas, guru service and coming away from all management. And he's derailed it by putting me back in the thick of management. And I said, but he didn't really tell you to do it. And he said, but it's in his heart, so that has to become my heart. Very powerful lesson.
Yeah, that's what it was. Prabhupada talked about first class, second class, third class. Third class disciple, even if you ask him to do something, he won't do it. And second class, if you ask him, he does it. And first class, you don't even have to ask.
We always had so many questions that we want to ask. Here's an opportunity to ask a pure devotee. Please do not let your shyness get in the way of this opportunity. Please do ask questions.
It's going to be a cheeky one, Maharaj. You started off talking about how.
I'm just keeping the place warm for Vaisheshika. Were you there for his class this morning?
Yes.
What an amazing class. It's just an amazing class. So, just such a high level of Krishna consciousness, just such a high level of steady absorption in Krishna's words, Krishna's instructions, Prabhupada's mission. Amazing.
Could could you share the pastime that you were referring to in terms of your godbrother? The pastime you were referring to with Maharaj yourself and your godbrother and about. Could you share? Elaborate on that one?
I just shared as much as I was going to share.
Could we get some insights?
No, I deliberately told you as much as I thought would be appropriate.
When Maharaj was passing, he told us that he would stay in touch and visit us in dreams and drop in. I wonder how that relationship works between you and him now, and whether there's anything you would be happy to comment on. And if not, then just we'll pass to the next person.
Dreams. Yes, sometimes I think of him in dreams. But I don't have a dramatic dream to tell you. I'm sorry. But these things are there in our line of parampara. The spiritual master can appear in Prabhupada as Guru Maharaj was canvassing to take sannyas. There are so many examples.
We see in CC that when Lord Chaitanya reveals himself to different devotees, he says, and now pretend like you've seen nothing, and kind of ask the devotee not to disclose that information to anyone.
Yeah, sometimes he would do that. Dreams. Yes.
One at the back there.
I will. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Much closer.
Oh yes. I went through a phase because I didn't know Guru that well. I was one of the fast track disciples. And so I went through a very terrible grieving moment where I suffer with kind of tantrum when I hear other disciple talking about this beautiful relationship they had with him, a conversation like this, what did you just share? And then I start talking to him.
And then what?
She started talking to him.
Started speaking to him about trying to get connection and a relationship. And I asked his mercy when I do book distribution. And lo and behold, I did 7 CC sets after I spoke to him and prayed and asked his mercy. And then I never done his books, but at the Rise Retreat.
And then she never distributed his book.
At the Rise Retreat, I joined at the book table with Adiganga. And I also, was full of joy and thinking of him and all the books that was on the table. I have not even seen some of them, but anyway, I just poured my heart and with open heart, I was attracting lots of people towards his books. I did quite a lot of distribution there, I think. And your books were also there, and I didn't know anything about them. So you did distribute some of
Yeah,
them.
I give extra ashirvads for whoever distributes them.
Yes, it was felt. Thank you. Anyway, I'm just wondering, is it real that these things happen if you pray and ask?
Yes, prayer is one of our items, bandhanam, to offer prayers. And sometimes prayer takes the form of, desire for something, desire to be connected in a certain way. prayer is accepted. It's not illusory. There's a joke that if you pray to God, then you're pious. If you speak to God, then you're pious, and if God speaks to you, then you're mad. But Krishna can reciprocate. The spiritual master can reciprocate either directly. Prabhupada said, this Krishna, this deity, he'll speak with you. Just as he was speaking with Sanatana Goswami, Madan Mohan, Krishna can do that, or the spiritual master can speak with us. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaya. Krishna enlightened Brahma from within the heart. So it's, as long as it agrees with his teachings, not that, Guru Maharaj revealed to me that I'm a gopi and that I should wear a sari and go to Radhakund. That's, those kind of dreams can be left aside. Everything has to be consistent. But when we get an instruction that's consistent and inspiring and gives us conviction for service, then we'll take that as a blessing.
Chanukanya Mataji, if I can just get the mic. Just like to make this announcement before His Grace Vaisheshika. Just like to make this announcement and give the floor to Maharaj again on a specific point. So on the UK KKS WhatsApp group, you will see, I've just sent you all something. It's the poster of the pre-order for Jayadvaita Swami's upcoming book, The Vanaprastha Adventure, the guidebook, What Are Your Plans for Retirement? Some of you are past retirement. Some of you don't know what retirement is. And many of us should be thinking about retirement. So if you would like to pre-order, then you can follow the instructions on the poster that's been posted there. And as Janukani Mataji said, and maybe many of us don't know so much about, because we had a very personal relationship with Kadambakana Swami, and we knew Jayadvaita Swami was his spiritual master. But he's so kind and merciful that he extends himself to us. And so similarly, I think we should also get to know a little bit about his upcoming book, so that when it starts going on sale, that we are excited to read it and learn from it, but also we can also nudge our neighbors and friends and Sangha members to say, hey, this is a practical step in our spiritual life. Should we look at this book together? So maybe Maharaj, you could share.
It's also something that's in your line. Your Guru Maharaj did that. When he got initiation from me, he was a householder. Not a very attached householder, but just had household life. And then increasingly it sort of became more and more distant. Then later sannyas. And that's the picture. That's the ideal picture. Not that we stay in family life forever. And Prabhupada speaks quite strongly about that. That we're not meant to stay in family life for all our days. But Vanaprastha offers the opportunity for detachment, but not sudden, radical, shocking, catastrophic detachment, but systematic, suitable, authorized, gradual detachment. So very important ashram, and it informs all the other ashrams. If we, we maybe say, well, I'll put that aside because I'm only 20 and, maybe I'll get married in a couple of years, but let's put one thing at a time. But retired life informs married life also, because that's what we find. I know there's like, when we say Grahastha counseling groups, and they counsel you about your family life, but there's nothing about the end of family life. It's like it doesn't exist. It's not part of the picture. If somebody were to ask them, well, what comes next? It's just not in view. But it's meant to be in view. It's meant to be in view because it's natural, first of all, even biologically, to develop a sense of detachment, even not to want to do all those things anymore that we do in family life, the work, all the other things that come there. So it's natural and it's spiritually progressive. So how to do it suitably and how to do it, actually, in fact, because it's not so easy. And sometimes we don't want to let go. We don't want to move on. We want things to stay as they are, and they don't stay as they are. They can't stay as they are. In my Bhagavatam classes in the evening, we're reading about the attack of Chandavega on the city of King Puranjana. And Chandavega is unstoppable. The influence of time, the influence of old age, even disease that comes with it. Nobody can say no. Kalakanya, the daughter of time, Decrepitude, she proposed to marry the Yavanaraj, the king of the Yavanas. And it's mentioned he couldn't say no because nobody can say no. I won't get old. I will. But as Prabhupada said, how to make the best use of a bad bargain. How to take the opportunity. All right, old age has its good side also. But I have to go with it. I can't pretend that the life that I had when I was 35 is just going to keep going into my 60s and 70s. And why should we want it to? Just like when you're 30, you don't want to be sitting behind that little desk in the schoolroom. That may have been a wonderful experience, but when you're 30, it's the wrong experience. So there comes a time when we're meant to move on from householder life. And that informs householder life because we know, okay, this is it. For 25 years, I'll do householder life, and then comes the next thing. We'll have some children, we'll have family, and then we move on. So if we haven't planned for that, then it's very hard to move on. We come back, 40 years later, and we're still in the same place. But if we know that this is what it is, then all right, we'll go in, and after some time we'll get out also. And it's not an unhappy business. It's like a new life. New life. So the book has two parts. We talked about making it 2 volumes, but decided to make it one. Big. It'll be like 500 pages, I think, something. And the first half is all instructions from Srila Prabhupada and practical things. And the second half is stories of Vanaprasthas, contemporary ISKCON Vanaprasthas. They do exist. And they have a lot of insights to share. So there's 12 personal stories that form part 2 of the book. And it's like the Kirtan book, it's not just a book, it's a campaign. It's, yeah. Not just a campaign to push people and say, hey, but a campaign to spread the teachings that have come to us from Prabhupada, the Acharyas and the Shastras, about what we do as we get older, as we all will. So a campaign in that sense, not a householder extermination campaign or something, but a campaign to spread these understandings. And to start discussions, because as with the Kirtan book, it's not, I think I quoted Sachinanda Maharaj as saying, it's the beginning of a discussion. It's not the final word. So I'm sure the Vanaprastha book will not be the final word, but it's the beginning of a discussion, I hope.
Perhaps Mahaprasad, you could share a little bit about the Krishna Balaram Literacy Trust.
Literary Trust.
Literary Trust. A little bit, and maybe if there's an opportunity for people to get involved.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. First of all, it's just a trust I started for publishing my books, because when you write a book, you own the copyrights, and when you die, they go to your relatives. And my sister doesn't really need my copyrights for anything. So we formed a trust, which is the owner of my writings, and can use them, do something with them. Now over to you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it. You probably know, some of you probably know the Krishna Balaram Literary Trust has been established over a year ago. And this trust is specifically established to assist the publication, the printing, the distribution of His Holiness Jayadeva Swami Maharaj books. But not only that, we also include His Holiness Satsvara Swami's books. As you know, Maharaj has printed hundreds of books. A lot of them are just so significant for our spiritual life, wonderful books. So there has been a discontinuity for some time to republish and promote those books for various reasons. So we've also taken that on board to assist, especially with the distribution and republishing of that book. So at the moment, for the Kirtan Standard and also the forthcoming Vanaprastha Adventure, we have very limited resources. We do need really great assistance, especially from a force like this team here. We operate primarily from the UK, myself and Pradyumna. So you can be well connected with us. There's a lot of activity starting from the publication of the books, and then organizing the printing of the books, organizing the distribution of the books, which gets very complicated, because we've got to distribute these books in America, in India, in Europe, in Australia, New Zealand, places like that. So it needs kind of a number of resources to work together, to especially focus on the sales and the marketing effort as well. On the marketing side, I think you guys are much better off. You know the technology, the social media, with Amazon, promoting ebooks and things like that. So digitally, I think a lot of you are very, very expert. So you can plug in with us and you can assist us in marketing the book as well. So we can we have you on board, in our team. This may not be a full-time job, but at least part-time, whatever expertise you have, you can offer us and you can assist us for the benefit of the whole world. The Kirtan Standard is for the benefit of the whole world. even the Vanaprastha may not be today for brahmacharis or grihastha, but sooner or later they will catch up. So it's a book which is beneficial for all. Having said that, I also have a little question for Guru Maharaj. First of all, we want to thank you so much for sharing your experience with Kadamba Maharaj. One thing that always touched me about his services is the services he rendered in Africa. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity, under the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, to travel in Africa. I traveled in about 11 countries in the southern and the eastern part of the world. And it's amazing that in every country I go, I always come across Kadamba Maharaj disciples. Even in places where there is no temple, ISKCON mission, no devotees. In places like Namibia, there's no ISKCON devotees, no ISKCON mission. Nothing has happened in that part of the world. So even there, I came across Kadamba Maharaj disciple who assist me to connect with people, whatever, Mozambique. Again, we don't have a temple. So Maharaj had done a significant service in Africa. And my question to you, Guru Maharaj, is that I'm sure he has some unfulfilled desires in Africa. He's done a lot, but I'm sure if he did stay with us for a longer time, he would have done so much. And I want to know, what are those unfulfilled desires that he hasn't fulfilled, so that the responsibility falls on us as a God brother and also as disciples, especially as a God brother. If I can serve his instructions, I will be serving automatically your instructions. Because whatever he does is always 100% aligned with yours. I don't have any doubt. So from your experience, what are the things, what are the desires he had, within Africa to do that he hasn't done, so that as disciples and followers can fulfill those desires?
Let's set a bookmark. Remind me, I wanted to say something about Satsrup Maharaj's books and also about what goes on in publishing. But to answer your last question first, there's a huge need in South Africa particularly. Maharaj, when we say Africa, Maharaj was really focused on South Africa. And Africa's, you could fit China and America and so many other countries just in Africa. But he really focused on South Africa. That was the place where he went. And South Africa is basically a Indian, ISKCON Indian movement, as we are in many places. And the black people tend to be ignored or unwanted even. They don't help the aspirations that we have for our families and our happy Hindu life, Hindu Vaishnav life. So, so you get events and temples and everything which are super wonderful, but in which the African people just don't fit. And they're not even taken into account. But it's an African country. The majority of people in South Africa are Africans. And especially in the post-apartheid time, the importance of the Africans as the leader of South Africa is evident, clearly evident. And when you start reaching out to African people, you find many who are like leaders and capable, intelligent, powerful, and others who are just, receptive and willing to serve, eager to serve. There's a natural service attitude there that uncovers, that comes to us. So Maharaj had a really strong desire to reach out to the African people and to engage them and to empower them, not just to have them as sort of necessary adjuncts to our Indian yatra, but to have them as empowered leaders who could spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Soweto is huge. It's like a city, a huge city. Vaisheshika Prabhu must be.
He's here.
Vaisheshika Prabhu ki jai. We were just talking about your class this morning, Vaisheshika Prabhu. It was the best class I heard all day.
Would you like to squeeze in, or we have a chair here, wherever you?
Well, anytime you sit next to Marge, but
Yeah,
I hate to cause any inconvenience.
I'm just answering a question, then I'm going to get out of the way. And if you sit there, Mataji, then I'll switch places with you after I've said my bit.
So let him sit there. Sorry.
Oh, you're both going to sit there. Okay. We were just talking about Maharaj's desire. Whoa. We were just talking about Kadambakana Maharaj's desires, whether he had something, and really his desire for preaching in South Africa among the African people is very, very strong. And it's almost sinfully neglected. We're just not into it. What's the word? Institutionally, we have gorgeous. We just built another big temple, and we have another big temple, and we're looking at another big temple, and our Soweto temple, which has been there for quite a number of years. It's like the size of an average Indian's garage. And the most important, such an important location. And that's what we have there. And but it deserves to be really, really pushed. It deserves to be something strongly supported, strongly prioritized, to use that word, brought to the forefront of our efforts. That means training people. It means investing in people spiritually. It means investing financially. It means really wanting to do things. And we have efforts there. Rukmini and others are at the colleges preaching to mainly young African students and working hard at that. It's not like everywhere. Students don't just sort of drop down from the trees and join like leaves falling. But when you meet sincere, intelligent people, they can pick it up. So on the one side we have that, and then the other side we have, what should we say, popular efforts. I was this year, last time I went to South Africa, there's a devotee, Narottam, who has a center in a place called Klerksdorp. It was a Hindu temple, but the fortunes of the town declined, and so the Indian people started moving back to Johannesburg and gave us the temple there. And he's using it. He himself is an African devotee. It's really sticking out. And he's using it for preaching to the local people. And the program is so wonderful. Their Sunday program, in one sense, is just very simple. Kirtan, they'll talk, kirtan, prasad. But it's such a wonderful program. Kirtan, you have all these, little kids chanting Hare Krishna at the top of their lungs, and you have adults and old people chanting Hare Krishna. And these are, simple people. A lot of them come from, like, shanty town that's across the street. But they so sincerely chant Hare Krishna and love chanting Hare Krishna. And then I gave a little talk, and I could see that these people had been coming regularly, and they knew what we were talking about. And even, one fellow asked a question, which was really like a little speech, but it was good. He knew what he was talking about. So the philosophy is there, and then more kirtan. And the prasadam was so nice. It was simple prasadam, but the local people helped to cook. The local people helped to serve. It was all nicely organized. There was a ticket system, so things were systematic. And it was just exactly the program that Prabhupada wanted us to do. Just have kirtan, a little philosophy, prasadam, chant Hare Krishna some more, and then make people devotees. And Nartam has this one boy there who was assisting him. Such a nice young boy. So, really, really high quality young man. Intelligent and devoted. And he came from that program. So it's a very important program. We have the Wusa House also, Wake Up South Africa, meant to be a center for students, another very important initiative. And all of these things, whatever we can do to help the Maharajas, in Maharaja's will, that's really what the foundation is for, the Kadamba Foundation. Some of it some money is meant to be given for New York City, and the balance really goes for the African preaching. So, and there was something else I was thinking about that. Yeah, this is what we're meant to be doing. What was I thinking about? Oh yeah, their idea of, the local idea of African preaching is food for life. You cook up 3,000 meals and drop them off at hospitals and orphanages, and that's your African preaching. And that's just not our African preaching. That we, anonymously, it's like, it's the Krishna conscious version of the hippie dream. The hippie dream was that we would put LSD in the reservoirs and everybody would become stoned. The magic would. So we have sort of the modern ISKCON counterpart that will just, distribute prasadam like anything, and by magic everyone will become devotees. But that's not how Prabhupada wanted us to do it. He wanted exactly what Narottam's doing. Chant Hare Krishna, distribute prasadam, full satisfaction to as many people as come. Chant Hare Krishna some more, speak a little philosophy, and make people Krishna conscious. That's the program. And that program it's not an expensive program, it's not a difficult program, and it's a wonderful program. It was so touching, affecting to see the work that this just one devotee really is doing there. So the potential in South Africa at every level, at the popular level, at the scholastic level, devotees are there waiting to come out. And that's where Maharaj's real interest was. Yeah, he had some African, some Indian disciples there and so on. But that was too easy. That was too easy. His focus was on, and you've heard from him about this. So when you ask about something that he really wanted to do, a desire that's as yet unfulfilled, I would say that there are others. He wanted to see Holland come up, and others still, but you know, you can see by where he put the money. He really wants to do something there in South Africa for the African people. Yeah, okay, the bookmark that we left, and then I'm done. Actually, we're not publishing Satsuru Maharaj's books through the Krishna Balaram Trust. Gitanagari Press is doing that, but we're keen to assist in the distribution of Maharaj's books, or in any other way that we can. So that was the one bookmark. The other bookmark is that publishing involves all sorts of arts, from writing, and we can publish in the trust other writers. It's not that only me. They're kind of not worth it. I've only got a couple books. But we can publish other writers. You can be writers. Writing, editing, publication design, which is an art in itself. Printing and all that goes into that. Then digital publication, and then distribution and marketing in so many ways. All of these are arts. They've been developed over centuries, really, and they're taking new forms today. So if any of you would really like to bore in to any aspect of publishing, then by all means, feel free to get in touch with me or with Mahaprasad Prabhu, and let's see what we can do. And that was the two bookmarks. And let's change places.
Just before we invite His Grace Vaishesha Prabhu and his good wife Nirukola Mataji, it was a good segue just to I've sent you all on the UK WhatsApp group. And later I'll send it to Divya Nampuru to share with His Grace and Her Grace for their attention. But this is a 1 hour report, but there's an art to saying it in 60 seconds, no sweat. This is a report from the Peacock Foundation, which is the foundation in South Africa for African preaching. The responsibility lies with His Grace Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu. So just to inspire you all, over the last 2 months, February, March 2006 in South Africa, we've had 136 local attendees, 1,000 prasadam per week, 450 peak university students coming to the programs, and 13 Harinams conducted. Haribol. His Holiness Kadam Kanaswami said that this outreach mission is the fruit of his vision, his tireless service, and his boundless compassion for the souls of South Africa. He planted the seed, and we continue to water it. That was from the Peacock Foundation. We have the Wake Up South Africa house, where there's recently 20 kirtans, 42 book club members, 28 who come for the Saturday chill out. That's what that is. 35 people part of the meditation group, and 15 people members of the Yoga Society there. Then you have the University Society, which is like their version of KCSOC here in the UK. They get 150 to 450 students regularly on such a small budget of 15k rands, which it's probably the cost of a pizza at the manor. So 70. Oh, sorry, the South Africans here. 70 pounds here. And there's the Close Drop Community Project, which Guru Maharaj was referring to. There's 2 events per week, 250 to 350 plates of prasadam served per session. That's 700 per week. and there's about 1,000 people coming over the week. Amazing. That's Narottam Prabhu's. Then there's Muhammad Sprout Outreach, 2 monthly Harinams, book distribution going on regularly. Then there's the book Bhakti, which has come out recently. What was this again? Oh, this is the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita sets happening there in South Africa. I'm sure the blessings of His grace. So that's happening there. And let's see if there's anything else. On there, you can see the expenditure over March 2026. Someone call my wife, tell her not to call me. Thank you. The vast majority is split between the Worcester House and other local programs. So there, for those of you who want to contribute, people are coming, service is happening, Krishna consciousness is being shared with the local people. It is your chance to put your footprint in South Africa. So we will later today send out a QR code where you can drop £1, £100, or as many zeros as your finger accidentally presses on your phone. Then please give. And I'm sure Vaisheshika Prabhu is an expert at drawing out Lakshmi, so he will also inspire us to give warmly to the African preaching, and in that way, what a wonderful birthday present to His Holiness Kadam comes from.
And whatever pounds I've gotten on this journey, that was.
Yes, Jay Venkaswamy actually gives a sizable envelope to Kadamba Foundation for African Preaching every year. He is actually the biggest donor to the Kadamba Foundation. So can we please?
Which really tells you a lot, you know. That's really pathetic, you know, that I'm the biggest donor. That should really be, you know, we have to do something about that.
Okay, so with that, please let us give the floor and mic to Grace. They're on the way to another program, so thank you to the number group and team to arranging that. We have some flowers here. Giri, if you can give to Prabhu and his wife, to offer to Kadam Kanswami. Give this to Mark or Mark. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Just to set the scene of the admiration that Kadamba Swami Guru Maharaj had for Vaisheshika Prabhu. Once in Mayapur, me and Brajeshwar Prabhu were serving Kadamba Swami and Jai Swami together, and Jai Swami had just come from a workshop that Vaisheshika Prabhu was doing in Mayapur on, is it how to sell a Bhagavad Gita in 5 minutes? Something like that. I recall the title being something like 4.5 minutes. And Jai Swami had come back for lunch, and he was just so excited, like really excited, like childlike excited. He was like, oh, Kadamba Swami, Vaisheshika Prabhu this, Vaisheshika Prabhu this, oh my God, and Vaisheshika Prabhu this. So excited. I'd never seen him so, like, just rapidly talking. And Kadamba Swami was sharing his realizations on Vaisheshika Prabhu's power. And he himself had a recollection of Vaisheshika Prabhu in New York. He had joined him on book distribution on one occasion, and there was a very smart gentleman walking down the street towards him, 3-piece suit, and Kadamba Swami tried to stop him and talk to him, but this guy just walked straight past him. A couple of steps down the road was Vaisheshika Prabhu. Vaisheshika Prabhu said, "Hey, Professor!" And this guy's ego just got captured. And then Kadamba Swami was looking in awe. And 2 minutes later, this guy's walking away with books in his hand. And he said he's so in touch with Krishna that Krishna is able to inspire him through the Paramatma of what to say and capture people's attention deeply. So I just wanted to share that story of his appreciation of you and your good wife, and
the wonderful service you're doing around the world, but also here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, uplifting us in the Sankirtan spirit. Hare Krishna. Please everyone give a big warm round of applause.
Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Joyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Sagara Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Joyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakur Diyapada Chaya Shurohe Amai Tomara Charana Dori Diyapada Chaya Chaya Bega Dhomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Deho Dase Chaya Bega Dhomi Chaya Satsanga Deho e amare Boshashi Sange Rase Satsanga Deho e amare Boshashi Sange Rase Ekaki amar nahi pai bolo Hare Nama Sankirtane Tumi kripa kore Shadha bindu diya Deho Krishna nama thane Krishna se tomar Krishna dite paro Tomara shukrati ache Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna Boli Taitava Pache Pache Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna Boli O Venerable Vaishnava Thakur, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to this servant of yours, and purify me with the shade of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet I humbly hold, by helping me control the 6 urges, and purifying me of the 6 faults. Bestow upon your servant the 6 good qualities. O Master, please give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here, hoping to have your company. Alone, I do not find the strength to chant the holy name of Hari. Please be merciful, and blessing me with a drop of faith, bestow on me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, and you can give him to me, for such is your power. This wretch is simply running behind you, crying out, Krishna, Krishna. Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori. Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori. I'm deeply grateful to be here, to witness this, be part of it, to offer my glorification for His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj. And the scene here is deeply moving. To see all of you remembering him on this day, and also to have your Param Guru here at the same time. It's unusual. And it's heartwarming to see how it's a family, and you have your grandfather here to watch out for you and to celebrate on this day. And when I first walked in and you said, Maharaj, you're answering questions about the desires of Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, it struck me immediately. I thought of a verse, actually, when you said that. Swayam Bujaksha Kila Satvadamni Samadhina Veshati Chetasaike Twatpada Potena Mahatkritena Kurvantiko Vatsa Padam Bababdim. From the demigods offering prayers to Krishna within the womb, they start by saying that one should meditate exclusively on Krishna, samadhina veshit, one-pointed attention on Krishna. And then the devas offering prayers give some indication of the process. Twatpada potena mahatkritena. So this means that the mahat, the great souls, those who are completely in resonance with Krishna's desires, if one can serve them, then it says, Kurvanti Govatsa Padam Bhavabdim, one can cross over the expanse of the material world, which is compared to an ocean, in one easy footstep, because the ocean shrinks. It becomes so small that it's contained within the water, as if within the water of a hoofprint of a calf. And hearing about Maharaj's desires reminded me how they are a manifestation of the internal potency. How can I say that? Because in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the matter of the Chaturshloki, Srila Prabhupada says in one of his purports that the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. And then he continues, and it is by that potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. It's the desire of the devotee to serve Krishna, and when that desire comes into our lives as a suggestion or an order, then that gives us immediate and direct access to that process by which we can not only step over the material world, but also how we can immediately see the Lord face to face through embracing that order. I remember in 1975 when Srila Prabhupada came to Los Angeles, or at least I remember watching the video, because I wasn't there at the time at that particular juncture, when Prabhupada came to inaugurate the marathon for the Chaitanya Charitamrita. However, the video anybody can watch, as Prabhupada was in the temple room and there wasn't a space left, high or low, and everyone was leaning in to hear what Prabhupada's desires were. That's why they had their heads cocked, leaning in like this, like Vidura did when he was listening to Krishna. As mentioned in the text itself, And they wanted to know what is his desire? What does he want? And as Prabhupada spoke and gave his famous speech about distributing books in as many languages all over the world, and the Krishna consciousness movement will automatically expand, the devotees there were absorbing that speech. 11th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Uddhava about how speech manifests in the world anyway. It starts in the lower chakra as a desire and moves up to Madhyama Vak, where you can conceive of it in your mind. And then it comes to Vaikari Vak, where it comes up to your vocal cords. And that desire that was there, then you speak it. And ordinary people speak all kinds of things. And all kinds of weird stuff happens in this world because of that speech. That's one of the points that Shukadeva Goswami makes. But when a pure devotee, those devotees who are intimately connected with Krishna through imbibing what he's taught and making Krishna's desire their desire, and when they then digest that and it becomes a burning desire in their heart to see the conditioned souls saved, as Maharaj was talking here, it was deeply moving to hear about, well, just, I always like to hear you speak, Maharaj. It's my favorite thing in life. But, and it's especially when it's, oh, of course, when isn't it? Sadhu cutting and saying like this, not like that. Siddhanta, straightforward. What did Prabhupada want? What did he say? And that clears up everything. It makes it so clear. What is the process? What's the desire? What should we be doing? And when we hear that, when we're able to take it in, then our lives are perfect from that time when we agree that we're going to follow that. And that's what all of you are doing here. It's a celebration. I've also been thinking a lot about succession and how we pass on this movement, because as one of my godbrothers said, this is the decade of tears. It was Burjan Prabhu. He said, this is the decade of tears, because it's just, look at the actuary charts. I mean, it's just the way it is. When you have leaders, gurus who are in the latter part of life, they're going to move on. But I was thinking, because I saw a picture of a little reel of a race. I like races. You know, people doing the baton. And so, you know, it's a pass of the baton. It's a fast race, and all you have to do is get the baton, and then you can keep running. You can't expect that one person's going to carry it and keep going around 4 laps. You know, they do their 1 lap, and then they pass it to you, and you grab the baton, and you go on from there. And that's how fast it is. The main thing, it's not that you have the physical presence of your guru forever and ever. Nobody has that, except maybe if you're initiated by Srila Vyasadeva. I hear he's still in the Himalaya, but good luck sitting with him there. You have everything complete. And the way you're relishing it here, seeing how it's going on, collecting funds for it, making sure that it happens, that his desires are filled. This is life. And that's how it goes on. And it amplifies through you. And his glories get spread even further. And Jayadvaita Maharaj is here protecting you. It's just beautiful and perfect, what you have. Very, very fortunate. About Kanada Swami, just some anecdotes, because they're dear to me. I did distribute books with him in New York City, and I remember that very dearly. And later, I had some more opportunity to serve with him, because somehow or other, I was fortunate enough to work a little bit in New York for several years with Radhanath Swami and Devamrita Swami, and then Kadamba Maharaj, who's self-effulgent. He didn't need to be appointed to anything. He just came there, and everyone said, he has to be here. Otherwise, there's no hope. And then I got to know him better. I didn't know him intimately. I just admired him. I appreciated him. We had a kind of brotherly love. But then I actually got to work with him directly on projects where we were on long Zoom calls, arduous situations that I hated. I don't like being involved in a legal morass and all the details of it. But he didn't mind. I was so appreciative, not just that he took most of it on his head, but also that he was so expert that he could just digest it. You know, these very complex things. There was a situation in Manhattan. I don't know if it's Manhattan, but the name of the project, the building they bought over there. Not Brooklyn, but the other one. And that was a mess. I won't go into the details. But Maharaj was so expert to sit there calmly, coolly, collectively, read the contracts, know what's going on, and be able to digest all that and come out in a sober way and just bring it. And meanwhile, you know, he's a sadhu figure, but he could do everything. He was so capable. And because we were working together on an important project that needed constant updates, and we were in touch regularly, when he found out his diagnosis, he called me. I was in Alachua, Florida at the time, and I got a call from him, and I was thinking maybe this is about our service. And he said, I want to confide in you because of the responsibility we have together that I may not be here very long. And then he started telling me some of his desires. And one of them had to do with New York City and a place that is famous for being the beginning center for the Krishna conscious movement. The title of the place you all know, and it'll go unmentioned on this diatribe I'm on now. But the force with which he said it and the list of things that he had with that at the top, which is a multi-million-dollar proposition to get done. He said, I want to finish it before I go. And I thought, that's how you finish a race, right? When you're running a race and there's the line and you want to, you don't stop halfway there or partway there, you run fast across it. And he was listing all the things that he wanted to do, and that was one of them. It was just, you know, simple thing, raise $20 million in the next few months and let's get this done. But he left it there for all of us who have the good fortune of grabbing that baton. It's open for everybody. Lord Chaitanya put an open order out for everybody in the world, and then great Vaishnavas, they'll pick up a segment of that and personalize it and then make it available to all of us. And that's how fortunate all of you are to have a spiritual master who had this burning desire to spread Krishna consciousness, burning desire to go where people were being left out, like Africa, and do that. And finally, so I don't go on ad infinitum and ad nauseum, I will say that one of the most touching exchanges I had with Maharaj happened right after that phone call when we went to Utah. It was the Sadhu Sangha in Utah. And I already knew, and I didn't know who else knew. I don't think many people knew at that time that he was in the throes already, according to the diagnosis. And so he got on stage. Do you remember that kirtan? Mm-hmm. He got on stage and went from 0 to 80 in about 5 seconds. And it stayed there. He had an hour. And it stayed there for an hour. And I've never danced so hard. Incidentally, I was dancing with Charu, another godbrother we just lost last week. We were dancing together at the bottom of the stage so hard, I didn't even know how I'm still alive, frankly. And after he finished the kirtan, and I think he looked over and saw us dancing over there. After he finished the kirtan, he got off the stage. He was walking through the crowd, and I saw him, and I went over to embrace him. And he looked at me, and he goes, I can't help it. And I thought, that's my Maharaj. And so, you know, that's the spirit you've inherited. Take this to the moon. Do everything. Whatever he gave you, that's yours. He bequeathed it to you, the most valuable thing you could possibly get, which is the enthusiasm to unlimitedly expand the Krishna consciousness movement. And you have guidance from, in my opinion, the best person on the planet, Jai Advaita Swami. So please just feel happy that you have a life to live following in the footsteps of the greatest of devotees who ever walked the earth, best kirtans ever, most intelligent person to be able to figure out most difficult things, like Uddhava he was. And rise to the occasion, and you pass the baton on to hundreds and thousands of more so that they can also spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, I can't top that. But I also was thinking along the same lines that when I heard that Jai Advaita Maharaj was speaking of your Guru Maharaj's desires and wishes. That you know, we also lost Srila Prabhupada before many of us felt ready for that. Before many of us, most of us felt ready for that. But what we had his instructions, and we knew what his desires were, and we have his books. And so that's what we took to heart. So then our relationship becomes more internal. It goes deeper. And you have that. You have your Param Guru, and you have each other, and you have the blessings and the intentions of your Guru Maharaj. So I'm very I'm going to keep this short. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. I admired Maharaj through what I knew of him through Prabhu and from afar. The first time I remember, I had seen Maharaj in Vrindavan, but I remember he gave this class in Mayapur, and he talked about how when he was getting ready to take sannyas, and he talked about like, okay, I'm just going to take sannyas, I'm off. And then, but the sannyas committee had him make sure that he could take care of his soon-to-be former wife. So he said he had to go back to work. He had to make arrangements like that, and it was he imparted that to the to the audience, that every step we take, every transition we have, there's something we have to take care of to move on in the best possible consciousness with loose ends tied up. And Maharaj did that at the end. He, like, the kirtans, the leaving you his desires, the starting of the projects, the big projects, the making sure that those who feel most left out would be included. That's a really big heart. That's a pure heart. We miss him. So I pray for all of you to continue on that path, to serve him with all your hearts, to go deeper with your relationship with him, and to fulfill his desires. You are so fortunate that you have that seva, that you know you can do. You know what you can do to please your Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirkula Mataji have to go to another program now. But thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming to grace us, to enliven us with your words of wisdom and your affection for both our Guru Maharaj and our Param Guru Maharaj. So wonderful to see the loving exchanges, which is the theme of Bhaktivedanta Manor this year, but to see it play out in such a wonderful way. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
I'm gonna have to speak 20% less.
Maybe please show appreciation with 3 Haribol for their wonderful association. Haribol! 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 Okay, if everyone can be seated. Jade Vedaswamy is staying, so you don't run after. Okay, so we have shared the donation link on the WhatsApp group, and I volunteered a goal of raising £1,000 amongst us. I think that can be done very quickly. Is there anybody that would like to start with making a donation, a pledge towards that £1,000? I will go start myself. I will do 100. Okay, so someone can write their names down. Baja, can you write their names down? So Krishna Kirtan 100. Ruchi, Vraj Rupali. Hold on one second, everyone. It's just getting it ready. KK, Ruchi. Ready? Vraj Rupali, Sesha, Jagannath, Madhurika.
Are we just assuming 100 from everyone?
Oh, no. We'll just do 100. Just yeah. You can add the 8 if you want afterwards. Yeah. Nish Kinchana, Harsharani, Adi Ganga. You're following? Adi Ganga, yeah. Harsharani, Adi Ganga, Divyambar, Siddheshwari. Yeah. Raja? Anamika? Anupma? Did we get Madhurika? Vallabhakanta? Janukanya? That's someone. Okay, are you sure? Okay, Hari Leela? And your mum? Separate. Okay, and Sadhya? Roy? Rasika? Sakara? Anyone else? Okay, we smashed the goal. How many names? And Dino Damodar?
17.
17 times 108 is? Might as well go to 2,000. So how much is left? 17 times 108, someone?
1,756.
So we only need 240? 3 more? 3 more. Gargamuni? Huh? Ananta Vasudev. 1 more. And Priyavata! King Priya! Thank you. I feel like that guy at Rise Retreat. Abdullah. All right, now we're nearly there. Okay. Sorry, Alanath, I'm joking. Okay, so please click the link. Sanatan, we got to 2,000. Okay. So please click the link, make the donation today, and I've done my job today. Okay. Let me do some thank yous and stuff before we come to formalities, because then after Kirtan, we'll go straight into